Hello and welcome. I am Simon and this is the Mind Decolonized, a podcast on the Africa Knows conference. Today I will be talking to Jacques Ludik. He is originally from South Africa and has been involved with AI for a large part of his life. Now he runs his own company, Cortex Group, focused on providing artificial intelligence solutions to businesses in Africa. He is also founder and president of the Machine Intelligence Institute of Africa, focused on transforming Africa through AI. He is part of panel F38, which focuses on AI and manufacturing in Africa. All in all, I think we had a super interesting conversation on what benefits but also risks AI could have for the development of Africa. Okay, Jacques Ludik, here we go. Let's start with a short introduction for our listeners.
Okay.
Could you tell something about yourself? What do you do and how are you involved in the Africa Knows conference?
Yeah, I've been involved in so many different conferences, and I think I was one of the latter conferences towards the end of 2020. And I think at that particular conference, I was talking about health wellness applications and how we transformed the business from it's an AI business, Cortex, but into a AI-driven health wellness solution. It's a digital platform that drives wellness for people. But we also have health, but there's also financial wellness. We're actually building both sides. So it's quite interesting, intriguing. And obviously your finances also impacts your health, your mental health, and sometimes vice versa. So it's quite interesting, that play. Founder of the Machine Intelligence Institute of Africa. That's what I'm currently also doing. But the main business venture is Cortex, the Cortex Logic, part of the Cortex Group. My background is in artificial intelligence. So I did a PhD in machine learning AI at Stellenbosch University a number of years ago, and also a researcher in this particular area. So I'm actually also now writing a book, and I should be finished with that hopefully in the next month or 2 or 3. I'm hoping in this quarter it should be done. And the focus is on democratizing AI to benefit all. So how can we benefit everyone? How can we democratize AI to benefit everyone? And this is all part of that massive transformative purpose of shaping a better future in the smart technology era. So I'm quite excited about that. That particular book is also talking about exactly how AI is impacting all industries, different sectors. It's talking about government, it's talking about national policies. It's talking about the state of the art in AI and where we're going with AI. It's also talking about this beneficial future for humanity. How should we re-engineer society, the economy, so that more people can benefit? How can we democratize AI? So I'm very much, that's a very big passion of mine. So even on the business side, what I'm doing right now is also aligned with that type of vision as well. So yeah, so you can see where it all comes together. So the Machine Intelligence Institute of Africa is building the AI community in Africa. And we are doing quite a bit in that regard. The business is trying to make an impact not only in Africa but also globally. So we want a global solution with what we're busy with. And then on the writing books and things that I'm busy with, trying to be a thought leader, to try to make a contribution with regards to sharing my experience with AI, but also helping with the whole communication around where we're going with this as well. So that's in a nutshell. So you've asked me what I do, but this is kind of a brief summary.
Let's switch gears a bit
Yes.
to Africa more specifically, because of course you're based in Africa.
Yes.
And you have developed a lot of technologies within Africa. So what would be the potential for artificial intelligence regarding development in Africa? How could it aid the countries in Africa to increase their level of development?
Okay, great. So I think if you talk about development, it's obviously, you can think about it more broadly. There's so many things there. We talk about sustainable development goals that the World Economic Forum is talking about. A lot of those goals, all of those goals is relevant for Africa, to also relevant for the world. So what we anyway prescribe in terms of how AI can help development or sustainable development goals or smart technology, whatever we say for any other country, is also relevant for Africa. But I think with Africa specifically, there needs to be some leapfrogging, or at least catch up. There's some infrastructure that you need. But if you think about even mobile money, it was like, especially what was done in Kenya, that was like a world first. So there was some leapfrogging happening there, using technology to actually get to the unbanked, or to just have another way of doing financial services in a very smart way, cost-effective way, using mobile phones and very effectively. So I think obviously you need the infrastructure, you need internet bandwidth, you need energy, you need all of those kind of things. I think those kind of things are super important, because for education, what is the key things that you need? You need that, but there's also poverty and those kind of things that you want to address. So you want to make sure that the economic systems are working. So how can you get Africans more? Well, if you think about, okay, I'm interrupting myself there, but if you think about Africa, 1.3 billion people, currently it's on a trajectory to 2050 to double that, or 2.3 billion or 2.4 billion. It will be a huge part of this population. There's a lot of young people as well. And so there's a lot of potential to also do what China did within 40 years, creating this incredible economy, biggest economy. Well, they're going to the biggest economy in the world. They're going to surpass the US. And Africa's got a potential to also do that kind of stuff, but you need to unite and organize ourselves. So Africa will become a bigger player, but there's a lot of catch up, and it is not necessarily given as well. There could be a lot of things that's making it more difficult, but I think the potential is huge. Even if you think about agriculture and using AI technology, because you've got obviously a lot of arable land here as well. You can use smart technology, Internet of Things, and AI, and all these kind of technologies to be much more effective on that front. But also just providing products and services for Africans. There's opportunity, and then if it's good enough, you can go international with that as well. So I think there's similar to what China did as well. So I think there is a great opportunity to use technology in a smart way.
I just want to go back real quick to automation and
Yes.
jobs,
Yes.
because that's another thing that's often talked about with AI, of course, is how many jobs and which jobs will be automated in the future. Will there be new jobs that are created? How will that work, and how do you see that working out?
Yeah, so that's fascinating and interesting, because you get, if you look at the AI, you get assisted intelligence, augmented intelligence, autonomous. And because of that, various applications where AI is automating certain tasks in jobs, or even automating whole jobs effectively, you will be in a situation where the existing current jobs will be affected. But as we know, as we've seen with civilization, jobs do change. How many people are still actually working agriculture? Just think about even the digital economy, how many people are new jobs and new variations and tasks and things have been created around that. So things are evolving all the time, but if it evolves too quickly and we don't adapt quick enough, then you can create huge gaps and huge problems as well. So I think one needs to really be, that's why I'd say government has got a huge responsibility now in terms of those kind of things as well. So, and citizens and corporates and industries as well, because they might appoint, if you implement an AI solution, for instance, and you're automating certain jobs, you can't just think about that solution, just maybe improving my productivity and stuff, but then what about the process? What about the humans? How is it being utilized? What's the aim there? Can I empower the people to use the technology so that I can actually improve my whole service and in a complementary way? So it's more kind of an augmented way. So the responsibility is not just on government, it's all of us. It's in industry, as we progress, as we transition, as we try to make businesses work, we need to think about locally within your company, within your corporation, how can I be sensible and how can I create applications of AI that's kind of supporting, augmenting us, and can I use those individuals, humans, in smarter ways to do creative things, to use technology in smart ways. So I think there's opportunities around that, but we definitely, it's the outcomes is not guaranteed, and the problem is also with the way our society is set up, engineering. We don't value maybe educational jobs or certain healthcare jobs and stuff. And I think we need to think about society and jobs and the economy and meaning. What does it mean to be human? And what is the things that people want to do? Because people want to feel they're making contributions, and they're feeling valuable. But that's all has to do with how you think about things. So we might, if we get to a world where there's superabundance, where you get AI that's doing most of the products and services, well, there will always be entertainment services or other types of things where you've got humans involved. I can't see a world where you don't have products and services that exclude humans completely, because it's anyway stupid, because technology should serve us. So yes, if you can use it to actually make it much more cost-effective product and services, so you can give in a more cost-effective fashion, more product and services to more people, that's great. But you still also at the same time want to create societies where people want to live in, that's empowering and all of it. And so the people talk about universal basic income, talk about all these various things to address things maybe in the interim. But all of those kind of solutions are on the table, I think. I think if you can reward people for their positive contributions to society, and it could be various things. Maybe it's not the way we traditionally think about jobs. It is just this. That's why it's so important to define what a society looks like, and then you can engineer an economy around that as well. So you need economists and philosophers, and you get all these kind of people together and thinking about what is that ideal world where the economy works, where civilization works, society works, and that I think we can put something together where we say, make it very clear to people how they can contribute. And obviously people need to agree about this thing. But I think there's a lot of things that's common. We know what's bad, what's good in general. So as long as we have that, you can then engineer things that people can do that are positive for society. And the more people do, the less reward them for that, even if it's monetary rewards or other types of things. But so that could be a great way of empowering people and solving this kind of problem. So maybe it's going to be a transition. It's going to be very interesting, but I think we need to be, so that's why you've got to have big picture thinkers, and think about society, humanity. And some countries will go ahead. It may be easier to do in a Singapore or Estonia, or you've got smaller countries in Africa, Rwanda, or all these countries where you can control things in a smarter way. But I think we need to move to that, and we need some maybe communities and countries that's setting the example, because eventually we want the whole of humanity to go there. So yeah, I would love to see the US also being more a leader in that regard. You've got a country that's kind of talking about democracy and showing how it should work, but they've got even economic system. Well, there's some really good stuff. You shouldn't just, but there are things that's not working properly, and you need a few countries to also show the way. We need examples. But it could be anywhere. It could be, that's why even South Africa, we can say, what can we do? We should think out of the box here. We've got our own problems here. If you think about the Netherlands, what can the Netherlands do within Europe to set an example? So I think if we have more of that kind of thinking and trying to build that society that we all want and engineer it in a proper way, then that's great. I think the only problem is we still sit in a world that's very hybrid. You've got, I think capitalism is dominant on the economic front everywhere. It's even in China and stuff like that. So you have a system that's there, and the problem is people are exploiting that businesses and the rich are getting richer almost, and so it's a bit of a issue. So we still have that reality. How do we move this thing in a smart way, where it's a bit more equitable, where it works, where society works? But it's clearly something that nobody individually, Google can't solve it on its own, Apple can't solve it on its own, this government can't solve it. So you need that collaboration. We have to collaborate. We have to, and if you think about democracies, if you don't have people proper sense making, you're not going to solve it, because people are just being influenced by various groups, and they are almost like sheep following certain things, and that's not ideal. So I think you need really wisdom and really good leadership and clear guidelines of where we want to go. So this book that I'm writing is actually talking a little bit about that, but there's more work that needs to be done.
Okay, well, I think that's quite a positive note to end on, that we need to do it together. So I would like to thank you so much for this interview, for this opportunity. It has been really insightful, super interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing you, to hearing about your book, and seeing you maybe on the Africa Knows conference during a panel. Well,
thank you very much. I really appreciate it, Simon. It was great to talk to you, and good luck. And thanks for all the interesting questions. And let's stay in contact.
Thanks for listening. If you found this interesting, in the next episode I will talk with André Lelyveld about how frugal innovation could aid in the development of Africa. What is frugal innovation, you ask? Well, I guess you will just have to listen. Until next time, this was The Mind Decolonized.